Hey Bandidos, welcome back. A lot of you are looking for really good countdown builds, and today, Tux is going to deliver. Let's go.
Ain't too many kids bang with us. Situation fight one. What you gonna do? Why go run?
Why do people look for countdown builds? Well, countdown is a real beast in the exotic hunting game. It really is. You can pick your loot here, and loot, it rains like cats and dogs, like what you're seeing right here. In just 15 to 20 minutes to complete, you'll have a stash that could rival Fort Knox. And if an exotic doesn't drop for you, no worries. And that's because you'll also earn currency, and one countdown completion is almost enough to buy an exotic cache. That's right. So Countdown has its own vendor, and with the credits that you earn by playing Countdown, you can buy the weekly rotating named items or any of the caches you see here. Named item caches are extremely valuable and a route to the best gear in the game, as well as exotic caches. And this is a really affordable way to get exotics, especially when there's no global event active. So let me show you the build that I have for you today. And it's a new build because it's featuring the new gear. And so I'm running Gunner for the 10% armor on kill, also to help a little bit with the ammo, some RPM lift, and the other perks that it gives. And this build might look straightforward on the surface, but it's actually nicely configured, especially for Countdown. Let's look at the gear set first. So I'm running 4 pieces with Striker. That's giving us weapon handling, rate of fire, and Striker's Gamble, which is 100 stacks of amplified damage, the best type of damage in the game. We got weapon damage and crit chance, and notice I have a protection from elites mod. Okay, I'll talk about that in a second. Now I'm running the backpack, and that is armor, crit damage, and more protection from elites. And this is giving us risk management, which basically increases our stacks from 0.65% to 1% amp damage per hit. So basically more damage on your climb to full stacks, which is really cool, and overall more damage. And in the gloves, I'm running weapon damage and crit chance, and on the knees, I got armor and crit hit damage. Hey Bandidos, the community we have built together wouldn't have been possible without you. So as a thank you for supporting my channel, I am bringing you the hookup on member perks, including even more Division 2 content and the celebrated gaming music playlists. If you're not part of Tux's Players Club, now is your chance. For the chest piece, I'm running Cheska to get my crits up. You can also actually run the Striker's chest piece. It actually works for Countdown because there's so many tanky enemies in there. Anyways, we got crit chance, weapon damage, and more crits, protection from elites, and obliterate. So it's important that you get really close or max out your crit chance because obliterate relies on crits. And that's gonna give us 25% more total damage. Okay, before we get into the rest, let's just look at our stats so we can get that out of the way. So I have 58% crit chance, 101% crit hit damage. And for defense, not much going on. I do have about 1.3 million in armor and 10% armor on kill. That's coming from Gunner. So this is really nicely balanced. 1.3 million in armor felt absolutely great. You don't really need to add more. You could go a little bit less, but for Countdown, this is plenty for both heroic and challenging difficulty in Countdown. All right, let's get to the star of the show, the St. Elmo's Exotic. This is new as of this season. So we got 20% crit hit damage mod, 20% weapon handling, 20% crit chance, very good mods. And then an extra large mag, 70 rounds. Wow. And then 979 RPM. That's because Striker's helping out there. I got damage to targets out of cover on mine. I just now loaded the expertise like literally a second ago. So all the gameplay footage that you see will have 0 expertise. Okay, so you don't need expertise, but I finally just decided to load mine up because I use this gun probably as much as you do. Okay, 1.7-second reload, and then Actum Est, which is going to give you shock ammo. And that right there is the game changer, especially in Countdown. So the enemies are really tanky in there, especially in heroic mode. In challenging mode, it's a little bit better, but in heroic, oh my gosh, they're so tanky. It's almost gross. Why are they tanky? That's because you're fighting with 7 other allies. So the enemies need to be tanky because all of you could be firing at that enemy at the same time. And the game doesn't want to see them obliterate into a fine dust. So they have to make them tanky. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So the shock ammo holds those enemies still so you can pound them out. I'm running the Shocker Punch. This build is designed with the St. Elmo's in mind because it works so well in that game mode with so many hordes of enemies. And so basically this build is a crowd control DPS build. That's what this one is designed to do. And it's perfect for Countdown because there's huge crowds of enemies. So let's hold them still and then blast them to death. That being said, the Shocker Punch has a really good application for Countdown. Huge. because there's lots of bosses in there, including hunters that all can accept shock from both the ammo and the shocker punch, because that's its special ability when you're running a shield and when you're running the exotic assault rifle. And as you can see, I am running a shield. It's a basic setup. It's a tier 3 shield, okay? I am running a fixer drone just to heal along the way, but we do have 10% armor on kill. This is handy. You can also go with the decoy. So the shocker punch, let's look at it. While shocker punch is equipped, the stun received by the agent from shock status effect will be reduced by 50%. Now this is what's crazy. You actually encounter shock in Countdown more than in any other game mode, and that's because sometimes there's a whole room that is dedicated to shocking you. The floor is electrified, and this is going to cut that down by 50%. But we're not done. You also have 10% hazard protection, so that's 60% reducing shock. We're not done. You also have your watch, and your watch has another 10% hazard protection. You are reducing your shock by 70% right there. Pretty cool. It's actually more useful in that game mode than it is anywhere else, maybe except for PvP. When you're using this holster with your St. Elmo's, you can melee and stun the enemy. It shocks them. So even if you don't have shock ammo, you can still shock. And the cooldown is actually really good on this. It's only 15 seconds. That is perfect. 15 seconds is perfect. I would like it to be 10 seconds, but 15 seconds is pretty damn good. So when you have this shield equipped with the St. Elmo, you can not only shock that target, but shock everybody standing around him within a 5-meter radius. Super helpful again. And you're gonna like this against named enemies as well as hunters. Hold them down and the 7 other allies can burn them. Now just be careful, because as you approach those guys, they might hit you with their melee. That axe hurts, so look out for that. Really good build. Now I promised I would talk to you about that protection from elites. So I'm running 3 protection from elites mods at 39%. Yours might be 36%. It doesn't matter. That protection from elites is great because whether you're playing in heroic or challenging mode, there's nothing but elites. It's rare to see a purple and a red enemy in Countdown. So protection from elites is the best thing you can do for defense here, and that also applies to your skills, so your shield doesn't break as easy, and you're greatly reducing the incoming damage, or let me put it this way, you're greatly increasing your resistance without adding too many armor cores. Now you do want to have some armor cores because you don't want your shield to break all the time. That would be really annoying. In challenging, you could probably take off an armor core if you wanted to, but you're burning them so fast even with the 3 armor cores. I'd probably keep it. In heroic, they're so tanky, you probably want to keep the armor core because you're taking a lot of damage as you're trying to peck one enemy who's super bullet spongy down to the ground. So overall, for a really good Countdown experience, I recommend just playing challenging. The reality is you get the same amount of loot and basically the same amount of credits at the end. So the quality of loot is basically the same. I can't tell the difference from my drops. So I really don't see the benefit of running heroic. Everything's gonna go more smoothly with challenging, and the enemies are less bullet spongy. And that alone right there is worth it to run challenging. Hey, if you don't have the St. Elmo's exotic, I got a video for you right here that'll help you get it.
Follow me.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.